Let's begin Skill 29, adding fractions and mixed numbers. To add fractions and mixed numbers, first you must rename each fraction if necessary. So if they don't have common denominators, you need to give them common denominators. Then add the fractions. Next, add the whole numbers. Rename and simplify if necessary. So let's go through it. We'll go ahead and highlight the rules, and we'll take a look at this first one in the example 1. Example 1 says add 4 and 5/6 plus 5 and 1/4. First of all, we need to rename each fraction by finding the least common denominator if necessary. So here we've got two fractions, 5/6 and 1/4. In order to find the least common denominator, we can do exactly what we did in Skill 28, and we can use our ladder. So we have 6 and 4. We'll put a few of the prime numbers up at the top. They're both even, so we know they divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And then we're going to multiply them together. So 2 times 3 times 2, 6 times 2 is 12. So we know that the common denominator, the least common denominator, is going to be 12. Once we have the least common denominator, we're going to rename the fractions with that common denominator. So again, just like we did last time, and I'm going to do this once with you, that'll be the last time I go through it, is we know 6 times 2 is 12, so 5 times 2 is 10, and that's what they have here. And 3 or 1/4, we're going to take 4 times 3 is 12, and 1 times 3 is 3, so we get 3/12. The whole number stays the same, so 4 and 10/12, 5 and 3/12. Then for step 2, we're going to add the fractions. So 10/12 plus 3/12 is 13/12. So we see right away that we have an improper fraction, 13/12. And we add the whole numbers. 4 plus 5 is 9. And then what we have to do is we have to go over here and we need to rename 13/12. So we have 9 plus 13/12 is what 9 and 13/12 means. It means we're adding those two together. So we need to change this improper fraction to a mixed number. 12 goes into 13 one time with 1 left over 12, and then we need to add 9 to it, and when we add 9 to it, we get 10 and 1/12. So there is a little bit more to it when you're adding fractions and mixed numbers. So let's take a look down at the bottom at number 1. Number 1 says 13 plus 9 and 7/8. Well, when we add these together, we only have one fraction, so we have 7/8. 13 plus 9 is 22, so 22 and 7/8. For number 2, we have 1/4 plus 3/4. Well, we know our denominator is 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. 6 plus 8 is 14. Well, 14 and 4/4 isn't going to work because 4/4 equals 1. So remember that we are actually saying 14 plus 4/4, which equals 14 plus 1. So the answer is actually 15. Let's take a look at number 4. In number 4, we need a common denominator. Now you can use the ladder method. I know that the common denominator of 4 and 3 is 12, so I'm going to rename those fractions. So 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 2 times 4 is 8. So we're going to add our whole numbers. 11 plus 8 is 19, 9 plus 8 is 17 over 12. Okay, now we have a little problem because 17 over 12 is improper, so we need to rename it. So we know it's 19 plus 17 over 12. 19 plus 17 over 12. 12 goes into 17 one time with 5 left over, so 5 over 12. Now we can add them together. 19 plus 1 is 20, and then our fraction, so 20 and 5/12. It's a little bit more work, but it's something that you absolutely need to be able to do. Let's turn to page 58 and I'll give you some problems to work. On page 58, I would like for you to work problems 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now notice that these all have common denominators or only one fraction, so there's not a lot of work to do here unless you have to simplify. And let's go down to the bottom ones that work horizontally for the ones with unlike denominators. Let's do 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. You may need to use a separate sheet of paper, and you may also need to go back and review lesson 28 in order to remind yourself how to find a common denominator. It's very important that you learn to find a common denominator at this point. This is a skill that you need to know, not only for your pre-algebra and Algebra 1, but in your upper level math classes as well. So go ahead and finish those 10 problems, and then you can move to skill 30.